you said about culture, I would agree to that because I can still see if you go to Gujarat, for example, we even in an apartment, they have their cleaning stuff. There's a separate room for it. Because they don't want the utensils to be cleaned in the kitchen. There'll be a separate adjacent room where you clean your utensils. The maid comes and everything is done there, not inside the kitchen. So what I understood is more on the culture front towards that. That's why in every apartment, even in a bungalow, there the design is made like that, because that is the culture that is happening from earlier stages. So you feel even in the later stages, also in future, we will keep seeing culture playing a pivotal role when it comes to designs.
Absolutely. I mean, architecture is all about culture. It's a cultural expression, okay, of that community.
Right.
So architecture and culture cannot be separate. So that's the thing which I can say. See, our culture is, we are more family oriented. I mean, there is a different sense or deep sense of the bonding between the Indian families. And I'll tell you something very interesting. I was dealing with one client who used to live in Kenya. Okay. And you know what is the sense of a house there? The house is about a ranch which is of about, let's say, 40-50 acres. Okay, so that is one house. Okay, and the bedroom itself is 4,000, 5,000 square feet is one bedroom. And from one bedroom to other bedroom, you have to take the golf carts or the battery operated vehicles to go. So this is a kind of a culture in some parts of the world.
Yeah,
it kind of works. Whereas in our community, I mean, whatever is the kind of money or whatever is the kind of an area that we still want to stay together. I mean, I must say in that sense, our courtyard houses were the kind of a best model.
Yeah.
And how do we get into our modern apartments is the kind of a best thing. You see the courtyard. So courtyard, it's a kind of an open space. Okay, where you get all the natural energy, whether it's the sun, whether it's the moon, whether it's the rains, whatever, you get into your house, internal part of your house. It's like, even if your entire house is closed, you still have that your access to whatever is the kind of, environment has to do. You've got your own plants over there, you've got your own garden over there, all those kind of, all the good things which happens in that courtyard house. Plus it gives a good amount of the cross ventilation, or hot air, it exists from there, all those kind of things. So in the modern days, I always was thinking, what is the kind of expression of these courtyard houses to us? And then I started believing in more that, balconies play probably the similar kind of a role. And that's where this, this adaptation of the balconies into our houses has started becoming important. That, if you have got a balcony to your living room or to your bedroom, it's your own private space. Okay, of course, I mean, there can be a podium garden or there can be the public garden and all. But definitely you can't do all your times in your pajamas over there, right?
Right.
But like, yes, if your own balcony is there and, after this work from home kind of a thing, after a hectic day, if you have to just go out and relax, little bit of kind of opening, what is the most relaxing space in your house? It will be the balcony.
It's balcony. Agree. Yeah.
And in the balcony, I mean, you see, I mean, most of the houses, I mean, if you've got a large balcony, when the parties are happening, probably probably the girls are there or the women are there inside the house, enjoying their stuff. You'll see most of the men with their drink, they'll go and they'll stand in the balconies.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a kind of a natural, distinct culture that we have got. We need our own spaces when we have our houses. Whereas, I mean, this is the kind of a thing, I think these are the small things I can say, that we learn from our behavioral patterns, the way we live and and then we have to provide the things, suitable. And then it's going to be the kind of a successful kind of a project. And people, it's not only about doing that project, but people should start enjoying living there. People should start falling in love with that, and that is the kind of a success that is the kind of, I can say, the kind of a key element in the success of the developer. You see many of these developers, whether it's to take DLF, whether you take Hiranandani, people start falling in love with their development. And that's where, people started believing, I'll go again and I'll buy the house again in the similar kind of fashion. So I think in Mahindra, we are evolving towards that. We want people to fall in love with our houses, with all these understandings about the cultural aspects, and we want to provide towards that. So that, anytime they think about, yes, we love living in the Mahindra development.
No, I agree, because each and every design, whatever the developers come up with, as you quoted, be even Mahindra, be Hiranandani, there's a signature style to it, because it delivers that aesthetic, it delivers that kind of design. Even if you're staying in an apartment, you don't feel confined, because everything is designed in a manner, even your balcony faces in what direction, everything is considered properly, whoever is the architect in that project. So very few, like how you name, those developers are taking care. But I feel still India, major developers are still behind that, because not everyone is taking care of that kind of, I would say, nitty gritty or the detailing part, because everyone is more in the front of it, jitna chota ghar banao, bech dalo. But people are not doing that now anymore when it comes to buying. Like for work from home, I have seen how many people have started now regretting the small homes that they had bought and whatever cost they got from certain developer, because now they understand, if I have to stay here 24 hours. Earlier क्या होता था, मैं ऑफिस चले जाऊँ दिन रात के मुझे 4 घंटे बिताने, it's okay.
Yeah.
But now when you're here, you are noticing each and everything. I need a space for my work from home area. I need a nice balcony. I need a ventilation kind of home where the air is good, even the view is good. Everything now people are started to notice and understand the requirement, especially even in metro cities. Because now earlier developers used to sell houses based on the prices. But I think now everything will change. It will be more on the design front, more on keeping these culture aspects also in mind.
Experiential qualities.
Definitely.
Right word is the experiential quality. What is the experiential quality your house is going to bring it to you? That is the most important thing today. Experiential quality not only for the master of the house, but even for the homemaker, housewife, even for your children. All those entire your parents. What is the experiential quality that house is going to deliver? I think that is going to be the most important. One very interesting thing, like what you have said, how this home is going to respond to our requirements. I was chatting with my friends, and the most important thing today, which is going on, is the focus in terms of the kitchen appliances. More and more men have started working into the kitchen. They started looking at the quality of the kitchen appliances and the things like dishwashers, things like I can say that. What you call good quality juicers, roti makers, all those things. Now the men have started doing the bakeries and cookies and all those kind of things, and now they have started understanding what is the importance of chimney and all those kind of things. So I am saying, see, this is the kind of this is the development, which starts happening, and you have to provide the right spaces. As a developer, to provide all these things as an appliance is difficult. But once you understand that these are the things which that house has to offer when the family starts living in, you should start providing those spaces to that. And when the customer starts looking at, yes, this developer has provided these spaces, then he starts enjoying living over there. Once he goes, he buys, and then he says, "Arey, mere liye to iske liye jagah nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi," all this kind of. Then it starts. Then after 2 years, 3 years time, he starts getting ridiculed about it. Then he will start kind of bad mouthing that developer also. He will start moving out of it, and the development depreciates. And for a successful developer, what is most important is development should appreciate, and appreciation will come only with the kind of an experiential quality, creating good spaces, and that all those things can happen with the good design. And good design cannot be detached from the cultural aspects.
Agreed.
So that's how it is.
So what would be the 3 architecture trends that you will see post-COVID will have the major demand from the consumers now?
See, as I told you, I think the balcony is going to be very important.
Yeah.
Going forward. Second is, which I am debating myself, because I do not know after the vaccine comes or after the medicines come, how much that touchless experience thing is going to remain. People will be still away from that each other and touching, because our culture is jadoo ki chappi,
Yeah.
So I don't know how much we are going to survive away from each other and without that touchless. But yes, somewhere that technology is going to play an important role in making the lifestyle easy, is another second thing. Third thing is there will be a lot of focus in terms of every individual getting its own space. So where there was a demand for 1 BHK, people will look for, in the 1 BHK also little that spaciousness. If you go to the gymnasium, people are not going to go now into the crowded gymnasium. People would like to go into the gymnasium where everybody gets its space. Probably they may go into the open gym as well, or, to the kind of doing the exercise more close to the nature as well and little away from each other. Third important thing is people are going to, look at, more towards the breakout spaces for them, where they find their inner peace, after the exhaustive work hours and all those things. They want to get into their own world, So for those kind of things, by the help of the technology, by help of the design, that how we can create those their own, words.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the important things. Some of the aspects, the terraces of the buildings, those will have to focus on, in giving those kind of, because those are the additional spaces, and anyway we do that. Probably the refuge areas, how refuge areas can be functional, and we create your lobbies of the building, how we can make the lobbies as more interesting. Can we add some library over there? Can we add some kind of a music pods over there? So these are the things. So these are the small things now, we will have to focus. Another important thing is, how do we control the cost? That is also going to be important, because, if the economic downfall happens, people will also look at their pocket, and we have to provide all these things in the kind of a cost which is affordable. So that is another very important thing. So the construction cost, and by use of the technology design, that, how do we do all these things in a kind of a reasonably affordable cost? That is also going to be the big focus.
So as we were discussing on the technology front, we have started noticing technology has become quite evident when it comes to, new home designs. Like new constructions are now putting all together few smart home features also. But when it comes to overall, do you think the developers need to now, once the 5G comes over, and the developer needs to keep in mind to adapt these technology in designs as well to sell the homes, to make it sure that you are providing these to the customer? Because Western world already all these things are started to happen like a year, 2 year back. But in India, we are just seeing only few developers coming and giving some few smart features. But do you think this will now has to become the new norm that developers needs to consider?
Definitely, yes. What I must say is, you can't control or you can't provide for whatever is in a futuristic way, assuming that, there are some technologies which are going to come. But what I must say is that you'll have to leave the flexibility in the design, or the space provision in the design, to accommodate those kind of, broadband network or Wi-Fi networks, or all those kind of things which are going to go, whether it's a 5G. So if there is a 5G and if there are multiple providers, you'll have to give the switches. That those providers, they come and then you can, without kind of doing any kind of an alteration, how they can reach to your home. I will tell you, when the pipe gas was not the kind of, in the practice, and still in many places of Mumbai, still it's not there.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of efforts that, that Mahanagar Gas has to do to get the pipe gas in. Right. But suppose, if you envisage those things, in your design, then it becomes easy to do that. Because I will tell you a simple thing. They have got the requirement that your kitchen has to be outer side facing. Otherwise, they will not take the pipe gas inside. Of course, it's a safety reason. Okay. But, some of the developers, those they are not thought of it, they will never get those kind of, the facility in their apartments. And then the customer will start getting agitated. So I'm saying what is important is to futuristically think what are these technologies and what will be their requirements in the design.
Agreed.
Irrespective of how much of those that you provide actually. Okay. So whether it's a broadband, whether it's tomorrow, I don't know, maybe the hot water and the purified water can become the requirement. Okay. Today we are just getting the tank water, which is a municipal purified, and we have got our own RO or our own UE inside our homes. But probably going forward, the norm will become that the entire complex should get the RO water or whatever it is. And then at that time, the developer will have to provide the space provision has to be there. Right. Okay. Similarly for probably the hot water, or probably for the centralized air conditioning. So all those things will start. We are into the journey of evolving all these things. Yeah. The most important is to envisage what are the things in next 20 years, those they are going to happen, and provide the space provision for that. I mean, see, we all must be getting the milk cartons or the milk pouches and the newspaper at our home, right? Okay,
Yeah.
the person comes and you tell me, where does he drop? He will drop at the doorstep. Probably we'll keep some kind of a tray or something to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I am telling you that we are going to do in our design, a kind of a specialized kind of a pockets in our doors itself that you put all those things. Okay, so it becomes a kind of a small feature. It's not the cost, but yes, I mean, it's your door. I mean, those bags, everything, those things, they don't get kind of a dirty. They are not on the floor. You don't have to. It's a kind of a feature which is embedded in the design. I mean, the one very important thing with the COVID is going to come is, the habit of taking out your footwears outside your apartment.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are thinking of providing a kind of a small niche with a kind of a shoe cupboard where person can, deposit his footwears and then he gets inside the home. See, these are the small things which you have to build in the design.
Agreed.
Okay, and then you take it ahead. I mean, now that suppose after removing the footwear, okay, whether somebody wants to provide the UV light technology, the sanitizing automated compartment, that's a technological, I can say the imbibement into that. But what is most important is first you need to make the space for that.
Right.
So as a developer, that we need to do this kind of things, and then teach the customer about what is the technology embedment which is available in that space. Okay, and then it's a choice of the customer whether he wants to do that or doesn't want to do that. So this is what I feel about the journey towards the technology.
Next question, I was coming to the residential projects only. Like, what are the 5 key things you always keep in mind when you're designing a residential project? So I believe one part you have covered, that you will make sure that these small detailings are there so that people understand. Very simple, as you said, even keeping a newspaper outside, keeping a milk outside. Now the fear is more on the contamination part, which earlier people never thought. Now people are thinking more on this. Even on the touching, like be a bell and all, as much as it will be less of contact, these designs will obviously be considered more by the customers. So when now you'll be making any residential project, or in your past also, what are the key factors you always keep in mind while designing those residential homes?
The hygiene was one of the most important factors. So hygiene in terms of maintainability, I must say, maintenance friendly, and in terms of clutter-free kind of a designs, which will help customer to develop his home in such a way. It's like there is a lot of solid waste which gets generated out of your home. Okay, I mean, there has to be a system which is to be designed that carrying of that solid waste and its disposal should become easy. If it is not easy, then there is a fear of kind of falling it into your lobbies and into your corridors. So this system of the hygienically disposal of the solid waste, which is a very important thing, I must say, in terms of your designing. I talked to you about the environmental considerations like cross ventilation, good light ventilation, good size of the windows. I don't want to touch upon that because those are the kind of things that have to be there. I mean, you can't do the houses without that. Second most important thing amongst the 5 is the kind of adaptability and the space provisions for bringing in the new technologies, whether it's the broadband cable, whether it's super dish TV, whether it's kind of some other new networking technologies which they are coming in, all these kind of things. So you give that space provision where that what I can say that LV and regular voltage, they come separately into your housing. Third most important thing is I must say it's about the kitchen and the kitchen appliances. Because there is a lot of dependability which is going to come on the good quality of the kitchen and the good after kitchen washing and cleaning, those kind of services. So that those provisions are going to be very important. The drying balcony provision, it's one of the most important things. I mean, by doing the smaller homes, people, they were using their bedrooms and their corridors, inside the home corridors but now people are kind of, they don't want to do that. And they want to have the separate drying balcony and all, and which is even hygienic as well. So we want to design the homes that, without kind of spoiling the elevations of the building and the views of the building, that how do we do the good, well-ventilated drying balconies, utility areas, all of those things. Fourth most important thing is that little bit of an extra space in every home. Okay, without increasing the area too much and without reducing the other rooms also too much. How in our design that we can give that little bit of an additional space, where if the scenarios come work from home, or if somebody is a, let's say, a kind of a photographer, or somebody is a painter, that how does he develop his small pod or small studio inside his home, and he can, or maybe there is a kind of a kid who wants to have his studies before the exam, or who has got the interest in the astrophysics, and suppose he wants to have the dark room and all, how we can do all these things. That unique space that is going to get very much importance. And another important thing, as I told you, it's a kind of little bit of an opening up from your apartments into your terrace or into your balcony. So these are, I mean, as into the individual home, these are the, I think, 5 things which are going to be very important. At the community level, I mean, you need to have a kind of a medical shop. You need to have a video call facility probably to the doctors, or with some, some kind of your connectivity with some multi-specialty hospitals where you get the doctor's advice, specialist advice. In terms of the trauma conditions, in case of emergency, the ambulance, fire tender has to come, to near to your building. I mean, you see the old buildings, they were so tight, the patient cannot be transferred from home to the ambulance, without tilting of the stretchers and all those things. So there has to be a kind of focus that, the patient has to be transported, from home to the ambulance without kind of getting much into those kind of issues very comfortably. So that is another thing. The good quality lifts are going to be important. High-speed lifts are going to be the important thing. Lobbies also have to be very well ventilated, common lobbies. Again, the focus, as I told you, in terms of good design of the refuge areas, terraces, and the community spaces, gardens, gymnasiums, those are going to be the key things. I believe that the demand will come for small business centers into the mid-sized complexes. When people, they do want to do the video conferencing and all those things, those things will start kind of coming in. And if the homes are going to be small, people want to greet their guests or the office colleagues and all those things, in some community space. So that small business center demand will come in some mid-size, 300, 400 plus apartments. Right. That is the interesting thing which I feel. Again, we were putting a lot of water in the car washing, and so there is going to be a kind of that has become kind of a concern, and we'll have to look at some kind of a dry washing for the car. So those facilities will start coming into the complex. So those are some of the thoughts.
So before I wrap up this interview, I want to know who has been your current role model and why, if you could tell our viewers.
Well, I mean, role models in terms of, I can say, my mentors and gurus. So Balkrishna Doshi definitely was my first mentor and guru, with whom I learned about, I must say, the fundamentals of the good design. How to get the good influences from the Western world, and without getting influenced by the Western thoughts, how do we Indianize, how do we bring in those Indian culture? That I think I can say that the biggest blessing which I got from him. And another I can say it's my role model or the hero in terms of the designing of the architecture is Sir Norman Foster. I can look at his ability to understand the customer, quickly. Between Doshi and Norman Foster, both this. What is most important amongst both of them? They understand the customer, very quickly, and they start putting their thoughts towards the customer. With Sir Foster, I'm telling you, we are doing some designs, okay, and he understood the Indian customer so quickly and turn around the designs, and using that technology which they have been used in the advanced world, and how you can bring those to India. What are the things? And some of his developments towards, I was exposed to see, some of his developments in the slum rehabilitation, in terms of how the Dharavi remodels has happened, and his thoughts over Dharavi, how you can remodel Dharavi. Some of the good things for the Indian low-cost housing, affordable housings. the kind of using the technology uh, to bring in the most affordable kind of a housing techniques. So it's not only that those people, though they will bring only the iconic kind of a buildings, but how that technology, once you learn that technology, how you can, as I told from S class, how you can bring those things to the A class. So that is another thing, which has been I mean, I must tell you, when I was in his studio last year, I mean, I saw that they were doing a kind of a project which was about the housing on moon. I mean,
okay.
So I mean, see, those are the kind of studies which are happening in the world, and yeah, I mean, you need to then learn about what is the gravitational force, what is the environment, all those kind of things, and how you can build over there. And you can't build something over there which is in the cement one. Everything has to be prefabricated. How do you transport? So see, the journeys are little different. What is most important is the fundamentals and the basics.
Right.
So these are the most two important things which I learned from both these top of the line architects, I must say.
So what would be your advice to young architects who wants to enter in the corporate real estate market of India?
I mean, they should have the sense of ownership, sense of commitment. I mean, you can be only successful if you're passionate about what you're doing and if you're enjoying what you're doing.
Right.
So a lot of things have been said about the corporate world, that people come to the corporate world for the kind of corporate culture, comfort, and the monies, But I always have seen in my career, I must say, that you don't have to run behind all these things, comfort and the monies. You have to keep on working, and rest of the things just follow. I mean, I always feel that yes, there is a vacant place at the top. Okay, but that journey to go to the top is it's not without sincerity or without any hard work and commitment. So if you've got the commitment, if you've got the passion, and if you've got the ability to think deep, okay, so these are the three things which are going to make you kind of successful in your career.
That's great. So before I wrap this, I'm so much keen to know more things from you. So I think this will go endless. Last, I wanted to quickly know that I saw a few paintings and I understood painting is one of your passions, right?
Yes.
And that's how
yes.
I'm sure that might inspire you, or even like I do painting as well, and that keeps me calm.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
It helps me to keep me calm. So painting has been because you've been wanting to be an architect, or it came before itself as natural, like how it was for you for that? Of the topic,
no, so yeah, it's a great thing. I mean, I've got some of my paintings which I've been doing over this.
The one which is hanging behind, done by you?
That is Hussein's. That is the Humanism by
Yes.
Hussein's, M.F. Hussein's painting there. I'll show you some of my paintings here. I mean, I'll send you some pics of some of my paintings, Kritika, which I have done during this lockdown. But I'll tell you, when I was doing these paintings, and as I told you, how it has helped, in conceptualizing some of the, the good buildings or the good projects that we have done, as initiating with the sketches or the abstract paintings, which express the things in the mind. When I was working with Doshi, that time Doshi was very closely working with Hussein on Hussein Doshi Gufa. It was getting built in our campus, Sept Ahmedabad campus. And I have seen him personally working and painting Hussein. And when Doshi said, I mean, you will have to work with me and in his office and all. And then I was working with him. Once he called my father, that he said, Amar, I want to meet him. And my father, mother, and we were working with him. And then he introduced all of us to Hussein. And that time he told Hussein that, in Hindi, in his Gujarati Hindi mix, he said कि इसका paintings भी अच्छा है हुसैन साहब, आप देखो ना ये बंदा, ये लड़का क्या करता है मेरे पास में है. Hussein, he said, भेजो ना ये अपने summer workshop में भेजो करके उसको. And when everybody used to run from that Ahmedabad summer of 50 degrees to their homes for 3 months during this vacation, I stayed in Ahmedabad. Those were the times where the water was a kind of scarce commodity in Ahmedabad. That Sardar Canal and Sardar Canal from Narmada and Sabarmati, that revitalization has not happened. And summer used to be dry. Yeah. So that time I stayed in Ahmedabad. We used to, Hussein used to take the summer classes in that Hussein Doshi Gufa workshops. he used to keep on painting, and about 12, 15, the young fine art students used to be there. We used to imitate Hussein. And that is where I feel, that real thinking about the painting has got developed into me. And that's where the journey has started. Till that time, I was only doing the paintings. But there has to be a thinking behind the painting and how to express that in the minimalistic kind of lines. Your expressions, how they can be strong with the kind of in a minimalistic way. That is what I can say. I learned from Hussein. He was a kind of a quiet person. He never used to talk with us, and sometimes he used to take a round and he used to see what we are doing. I was a kind of a person, it's like I always used to go and disturb him, asking many questions. And he used to say, "Tum sirf mera dekh ke copy bhi karo na, so you will kind of get into your journey." But he was always kind of very kind-hearted. So one very interesting thing that he told to me, which I remember, he said, "Orange is such a color, it's such a powerful color. You have to balance it in your painting or in your art, whatever you do. If that orange is little less, your painting or your artwork will become dull. If it is more, it will start becoming, kind of an disturbing the eyes or disturbing the." So he talked about that orange color, and that's where I realized, the colors which I use have to be used in such a balanced way. So when I did my home, I have got a huge painting of my on one of my walls, which I have done. If you've got, I can just take my laptop there and I'll show you. Just a second. You'll get some disturbance of the sound because probably my son is there, but I must show you that painting.
That's the painting? Wow.
That's the painting which is behind me. That's on my wall, which I did.
That's
beautiful. It's about 16, 17 feet by about 15 feet.
Wow.
And then I've got some Picasso also.
Beautiful. I think after seeing your paintings, I won't.
This is my painting. This is my one painting.
I said after seeing your beautiful paintings, I won't be able to share my paintings then.
No. It's not like that. It's your own expression of your art.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to tell you is, when I did my home interiors for the first time, this is again the kind of little bit of the change, one new one. I remembered those Hussein's words, to use about using the orange, and everyone, and that was the kind of first time I did the interiors after coming back to Mumbai, and I used to ask everyone, what is the color that you see when you come into my house? And everybody used to say it comes like, these are the colors of the sunrise, these are the colors, we can see the orange. And then I used to tell them, okay, so if you are saying orange, or you see this kind of a saffron color, okay, show me a single space where I use the saffron or the orange color. And they used to find out, they used to say, no, but we are seeing the green is used here, we are seeing the violet is which is being used here, we are seeing the white. So there was no orange color actually used, but the entire appearance of the space had come as an orange. So I'm saying this is the power of the, once you start learning with this kind of masters, about the use of the colors and all.
That's beautiful. I'll keep
just a small thing I just thought that I should share with you.
No, I'll definitely keep that also in mind when I do my next painting. But it's been really lovely talking to you and getting such insights on design and even on the current real estate market, how design needs to be adapted for the later. And I'll definitely show you the paintings. I would love to see more paintings.
You must.
And thank you so much for coming for the design story.
And remember about this orange. Next time when you do the painting or you do anything, without using orange, try to capture that orange feeling, and you will see that the painting turns out, or that space turns out very different.
I think that will take a lot of practice for me, but I will try for sure. But it's a great advice. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Amar. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Kritika. It was wonderful interacting with you. Thank you. And you asked some very good questions, and I must say these questions, I have answered some of the things, but it has also kind of ignited some of my thoughts, probably, which will be useful for me.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.